Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be another how to be a pro video. Today's video is how to highlight your under eyes like a pro. In this video I'm going to be teaching you guys how to highlight your under eyes, how to brighten them, the shape to use. I also tell you guys like my favorite products I like to use to highlight my under eyes, how to prevent creasing, just everything that I feel is necessary for highlighting your under eyes basically. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. So if you guys do want to know how to highlight your under eyes like a pro, then please just keep on watching. So before I do anything with the makeup, I always like to make sure I prep that area first. Especially with the under eyes, it's just going to prevent creasing, it's going to make sure that the under eyes are all nice and hydrated, and it just means that the area is going to end up looking a lot smoother rather than applying nothing before applying your concealer. Now what I like to do is always apply an eye cream, just because I find it really helps to prep the area, helps to make sure that everything is really nice and moisturized, and I just feel the eye cream is the best way to prep my under eyes. The eye cream that I like to use is the Vitamin E eye cream. This is just going to prevent dryness. The skin absorbs it fairly quickly, so it doesn't leave anything greasy, it's not oily, and it's not going to create creasing, if you know what I mean. So it's not going to make it crease more. So this is a really good eye cream, so go with whatever eye cream or eye primer that you know works for you and that you know isn't going to create creasing and you know is going to hydrate your under eyes. When I apply my eye cream, I just like to spread it between two of my fingers, and then I just like to pat it under my eyes in like an upward motion, just in the areas where you're going to be applying that concealer. I also like to apply this onto my eyelid as well. So while that is sinking in, what I will do in the meantime is apply my foundation. I'm just going to be priming my face and applying some foundation, because I like to do my foundation first before I do my concealer, just because the concealer can go on top of that and create that really nice and bright effect. So I've just applied my foundation all over with my Real Techniques Miracle Complexion sponge. Once you're happy with the coverage of your foundation, we're going to start moving on to the concealer. I always like to make sure is that I don't apply too much foundation under my eyes. I like to keep it fairly thin, the layer. I mean, I don't apply nothing there, but I just sort of use my sponge and just kind of go under it with whatever's left on my sponge. I don't like to apply too much, because too much product can cause unnecessary creasing, and also if you're on the drier side and you get dry skin, it may cause your eyes to look a little bit drier. It really does depend on what type of skin you have, but I know with me that if I apply too much foundation there and then I put a concealer, it just looks really cakey and I know it's going to crease. So I just apply a very thin layer of foundation, and it does depend on what foundation you're using as well. If you're using something like Face and Body, which is a very watery foundation, and you apply that under your eyes, it's likely anything you put on top of it now is going to crease, because it's got that kind of watery consistency. So just have that in mind whenever you're applying a foundation. If you know it's got a dewy or a water-based consistency and you know it's not a long-lasting formula, try not to apply it under your eyes, because that can cause creasing. When it comes to picking a shade of a concealer to highlight your under eyes, you want to go for something that is 2 to 4 shades lighter than your actual skin tone. As you can see, this one is probably about 3 or 4 shades lighter, just because I like to go for quite a bright under eye. This is the Maybeline Fit Me Concealer in the shade 20. This is one of my favorite concealers, so I thought as we are doing a concealer based tutorial today, I wanted to use this one, and this one is a medium coverage. Go for whatever coverage you know works for you. I rarely ever go for a cream concealer, something like the Kiko Full Coverage, just because this is just too heavy for me. Whenever I try this, it makes my under eyes look too dry, or it looks too creasy. It just doesn't work for me. This may work perfectly for you. Again, just pick the concealer that you know works for you. For me, I like to stick to a medium coverage usually. Sometimes I go for the MAC Pro Longwear, which is classed as a medium coverage, but it can go to a full. So I like to go for a medium buildable concealer coverage when it comes to my under eyes, just because I know that works for me. But like I said, you just got to trial and error a couple of different concealers and just see which ones work for you. this one particularly works for me really well. Okay, so when it comes to creating the shape of the concealer that you want to use to brighten your under eyes, this works on pretty much everyone. For whatever age, skin tone, it doesn't matter, this particular shape works. It's nothing new to YouTube, you guys have most likely seen this shape before, but it is the triangular shape that goes upwards. What this will do is automatically lift the face. So where we place that light concealer, it's gonna lift the face upwards and it's almost gonna give us a mini facelift without actually having to do anything. So this is, in my opinion, the best way to highlight your under eyes. You don't necessarily have to cover it all in concealer. You can just dot it in that shape if that's what you'd rather, if you want to go for something more natural. But in general, that rather than a rounded shape just tends to lift the face upwards a lot better. So I'm going to start off by applying this to my face, and I like to get this right up to my upper lash line, but you can of course go a little bit downwards if that works for you. And I'm just going to take this up. Just literally swiping that in an upwards motion. So as you can see, if I look straight on, you can see that it's lifting upwards. And I want to take that all the way to the inner corner of my eye. I personally like to drag it downwards onto the bridge of my nose, because what this does is narrows down my nose. So that, I feel, is enough concealer. I don't like to take it too far down this way, because when you do blend it out, it does end up coming down a little bit, so you don't want to take it down too far, otherwise it's going to be all the way down here and it's not going to highlight the area that you want to. As you can see the difference already, you can see that it is going to lift up my face. So I'm going to blend in this side first so that you guys can see the difference between the two. I'm going to be using the same sponge I used to blend in my foundation. You can use a sponge, you can use your fingers, you can use a brush, but one thing I do recommend, whatever you are using, I recommend you using patting motions instead of rubbing under the eyes, just because when you rub, I used to do this a lot, when you rub you get this kind of smears under your eyes and it doesn't look as airbrush and flawless and stuff like that. The best way that I'd recommend is to pat, because it's going to be patting the product into the skin and it's going to look a lot more flawless, whereas when you rub it, you're kind of rubbing the product in different directions and that way it just doesn't look as flawless. Something I definitely recommend is when you're blending in your concealer, to prevent creasing, is to look all the way up into a hand mirror. So as you can see, I have a hand mirror and I'm going to look all the way up. That way you can blend in all of the creases before you set it. So I'm just going to be using my bouncing motions as I said before. And you want to try and keep this product in the place that you applied it. And don't worry if you need to do this concealer face. Everyone always laughs at me when I do this, when I go, but it kind of stretches out that area and it just makes it a lot easier, and I can't help but do it. That's just like a habit of mine. Okay, so once you've got to this point and your concealer is semi-blended in, something you guys have probably seen me do in a lot of my videos is use this little weird shaped brush. This is from Sigma. This is the 3D HD Precision brush and it kind of comes like a sponge, really can't reach into them tiny little areas, so a small brush that is shaped like this is very handy. So I'm just going to be going into them areas and just using them same kind of patting motions, just making sure that this is very thoroughly blended into my skin. At the moment it's blending into my skin really well and everything is looking really nice and just blended and it just looks really nice. I really love this concealer because it's not too heavy at all. It's not too out there, which I love, and I can still get that really nice highlighted under eye without looking too crazy. And as you can see the difference from this eye and this eye, I just look a lot brighter, I look more awake. Generally when it comes to setting your under eyes, you want to work quite quickly, especially if you're working with a concealer that sets. Fortunately, this concealer does not set, so I can take my time and talk to you guys, but if you are actually setting your under eyes, I'd recommend that you kind of apply your concealer and set it as quickly as you can to prevent it from creasing and drying in a creasing way. But for this concealer, it actually doesn't set on my skin, so I can take my time. But what we're going to be doing now is talking about setting powders. When it comes to picking a setting powder, I'd highly recommend that, again, you trial and error with the setting powder that works for you. I have found a setting powder that works for me. It is the MAC Prep and Prime CC powder. I have a few others that I love as well, but this is particularly the one I love to use for baking my under eyes. I've also heard that the Laura Mercier setting powder is amazing as well, so I'm going to be trying that one out soon. you want to make sure that there are 3 things that are not within your setting powder. One thing is that you want to make sure that it has no light reflecting particles, especially if you're working with flash. I have this NARS Crystal reflective loose powder. It's great for just everyday wear, but once a flash hits on it, the light reflectant particles just and it creates this flashback that looks white in photos, so it looks very obvious and it's quite hard to hide, if you know what I mean. So you want to avoid anything light reflectant, glitter, that kind of stuff is really going to come up in flash photography. Also, another thing is HD powders. They are not made to use with flash photography. Again, HD powders kind of flash back. Also, another thing is SPF. You don't find that often in setting powders, but that's just another thing. SPF often does flash back. So those are just 3 things to be wary of. It doesn't necessarily react on all people, but it is known for those 3 things to affect your under eyes in flash photography. This one I know works for me. It's completely translucent, but it has a slight yellow tint, which I really like considering I have a yellow undertone in my skin. And again, you want to look upwards when you are setting your eyes for this. I'm going to be showing you guys how to bake your under eyes. It's something that I have been wanting to talk about on my channel for a little while, just because it's kind of been all the craze recently. Although it is an old technique that's been going for years, it's something that has definitely become known recently, if that makes sense. I'm going to be taking this pink sponge. This is the one I always use. This is from MAC. This is just one of their little sponges. This is probably about £4 or £5. You can just use any sponge, don't worry about it, whatever sponge works for you. And you basically just want to dip it into the powder. You want to take as much powder as you can onto that sponge, and you want to make sure before you set it that all the creases are smooth. You don't want to make sure there's any creases, because once you set it and there's a crease, you're not going to be able to get it off. So you want to make sure there's no creasing before you begin. And anywhere I apply the concealer, I'm literally just going to be applying powder like that and not touching it. I'm just going to leave it to sit on my skin. So at this point, this is what it looks like. You look absolutely crazy. Really great thing if you want to prevent creasing, if you want to create this really nice under eye that is not going to move. It looks absolutely gorgeous in photos. Your under eyes just look really nice and bright. So I'm going to do my other side, and then I'm going to let this set until I finish the rest of my makeup. So I just put on my red lip, and I put a little bit of concealer on some other areas of my face as well. So we're going to wipe away all of this powder. You want to use quite a fluffy brush so we can get rid of all of the excess powder. So I'm going to be brushing away the powder with a powder brush, just making sure to get rid of all of the excess powder. I'm just dusting it away from my face. I want to make sure that all of the powder is dusted away, but at this point, as you can see, my face is looking really nice and lifted. I haven't applied any bronzer, any contour, so as you can see, when you do contour and you know, bronze your face, everything just looks really structured. Your face is going to look really lifted, and everything just ties really well together. So I'm going to apply the rest of my makeup, and then I will come back and chat to you guys. So guys, I now have all the rest of my makeup on. I hope that you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful and you picked up a couple of new tips and tricks today. Highlighting your under eyes can be different for everyone. Everyone prefers their different kind of style, but this is just the kind of style that I like to go for, and I personally find that this way I get no creasing, my under eyes don't look dry, I just feel that I look fresh and awake, and this is just my foolproof way on how to just highlight your eyes like a pro. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Please comment down below if you guys have any tips and tricks of your own that I didn't mention today. I would love to hear them, and it would be really helpful to anyone else that is looking for some more tips. So just comment down below any of your own tips and tricks. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I put new videos up 3 times a week, so you will see my face. Don't forget to like this video, guys, and I will see you in the next one. So take care, and I will talk to you later. Bye! Mwah.